Here we go, folks. The New Jersey High School Strength Coaches Podcast. I'm with my bro, Paul Kolody, and back for round two, Toby Jacobi. I mean, Toby's been keeping me on my toes because I canceled 3 weeks in a row because I'm weak. I'm soft. I'm telling him I'm tired. And he's like, man, this guy's all talk. I've been wiped out. And then we're going to record today. And it's 7 p.m. and it's like clockwork. My wife or daughter, somebody from the family texts me at 7 with, hey, we're going to eat. We're doing this. I was like, oh, no. But I'm energized. I got the pizza in me. I got the carbs.
All right.
I got the carbs. So we were ranting a little bit before, but our topic that was to be continued was going to be on was it long-term career as a strength coach? Was that what we were?
Yeah.
Yep. I believe that was it. We were ranting a little bit about club teams that don't have the time to get into the weight room. So I'm letting our guest of honor really choose the direction of where we're going to go, Toby, because I know you're hyped up. 3 weeks in a row, I bailed. I mean, I'm almost on the bench. I'm almost off the team.
Oh, you are good. You're good.
What are you feeling?
I think I'll talk about what you guys were talking about a little bit, obviously, before we came on. In my world, down south, it's baseball. Baseball is.
Toby, hold on. You got an echo. Are you mic'd up? Oh, you are mic'd up.
Yeah. You can hear me?
Yeah, there's an echo for some reason, though.
Hold on, just a second.
Okay.
Real life.
So for our coaches listening, before we recorded, we're talking, Paul and I, about the busy schedule we've got about getting teams in, and Toby's going to take it from there.
How's that go?
Yeah, give a sound check. Sounds good, buddy.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. But getting back to it, the whole club sport mentality, and that's something our world has to deal with as high school strength conditioning coaches. I don't care where you are, East Coast, West Coast, North, South. There's always going to be something that some way, shape, or form you're going to run into that. I run into it a good bit here where I'm at with baseball, and now we're starting to get a little bit better in soccer, and so I'm starting to see that. And the reality of training athletes, the way I approach it is, maybe this is my collegiate mindset is, hey, guess what? Who writes my paycheck? And at the end of the day, I'm Strong Rock strength coach. I'm not the club team strength coach. I'm not, so the way we do our programming, it ends up being, I got my soccer guys who are playing soccer. We're off season training. I've got my baseball guys who are playing fall ball guys. We're off season training, because the reality of it is they're never going to be off season. Mm-hmm. They're never going to get stronger. They're never going to have those physical adaptations that they so sorely need to be able to, I like to use the term with our kids, develop that body armor to be able to handle the wear and tear of athletics.
Yeah.
And so let's be honest, as high school coaches, and this is selfish maybe, but as a high school coach, I'd rather a club coach be angry with me than my baseball coach.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather a club coach of volleyball or whatever be upset with me than my coaches at Strong Rock. And so that's the approach that I take with it. I lay that out very clearly to the parents. I lay that very clearly to the athletes. Sometimes I get a little bit of pushback, and I say, okay, very simply, and I literally explain it in those terms. I'm employed by Strong Rock Christian School. So please tell me what I'm supposed to do as an employee. Well, obviously, they don't have a real recourse when I use it in that terminology. And so that's how I try and address it.
I like it.
Now, I'm never going to ask a kid to do something that is not safe or so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, as a high school strength and conditioning coach, you have to learn how to manipulate that situation. I've reached out to club coaches, and I've never heard a response. I've never gotten, because hey, if I'm being forced to work with you, not that I want to, no disrespect, but if this is the predicament that I'm being put in, then I'll reach out. Reached out to a couple coaches and I haven't heard a word back.
That's a shame.
So if I'm even willing to say, okay, uh, I'll extend that olive branch, and has been thrown back in my face multiple times, then I have to address it the best way I can. Now, the good thing with our programming and how we do it, we have built-in modifications for everything that we do.
You shared those training
Yeah.
templates. It was amazing.
Yeah,
You're a spreadsheet master. That blows my mind.
It's been a long time, and I've had a lot of work when I was actually working on it when you right before this meeting. But so I have the ability to manipulate really quick on the fly with a lot of the stuff that we do. Not so much exercise, but volume and intensity. Very easy.
We went over this at the we had family day, so I kind of went over like here's the day of training, and here might be it's like, let's say it says squats for 4x4. If you're a freshman, you're probably going to goblet squat for 4x8. If your back feels banged up, you'll goblet squat instead of back squat, or maybe back squat becomes front squat. So I really respect and like what you're doing, though, meaning if you try to appease everybody, and club sports have made it challenging for the high school coach, because sometimes the kids and or the parents in the club put precedent over the club, over the school. And then, we're in like this tug of war. Soccer up here is like that. I guess hockey. The weird thing about hockey
lacrosse.
Is club hockey is during high school hockey season. What the heck is that? Where baseball, you have fall ball and summer league. Lacrosse is, do they do it in the winter, Paul? What do they do? Like a summer?
They've become all year round as well. So their main up here is in the spring. As soon as they're done, they go to summer tournaments, and then fall they get with their clubs. Now it's only 2 days a week with their club, but they're still with them. And I just started getting my lacrosse guys back in. Toby, I love what you're doing. I've actually, with our baseball guys who we have a baseball army too. Our team played Zacks in the semifinals of the state.
There can only be one baseball army. I'm just putting that out there.
All right, so we're the baseball Marines. But their fall, because we've had a lot of success, their fall schedule got amped up by 10. So now they're playing 2 games a week, tournaments on the weekends. So I've gone the Wendler attitudes. So after we do our initial GPP, once we start about 4 weeks, I go right into 5-3-1 because I like that program. It's auto-regulated for the kids. And I've gone the Wendler way. They do a little CNS where we'll do a kettlebell swing or a high pull. They'll get their main core lift done with 2 accessories and they're out the door. So they're getting their main lifts in, but they're not getting that volume. And now the off-season baseball guys who aren't playing as much fall ball, they'll do some of the accessory work on top of that. But, it is, I gotta be able to make sure, Coach, I know you say it all the time, do no harm. I don't want them going out there and whether it's their oblique or whatever they do in one of those games, get jacked up and then they can't play. And it's a hard situation.
I think about my 4th year here at Strong Rock. I also recognized something that, golly, took me almost 20 years to figure out. As much as we want to do, and as much as we want to try and prevent and develop, when you have parents like my first 5 years on open house. My first 5 years, I had mothers each year walk up to me and tell me that their son had elbow issues from baseball. Like I had one kid who was a 9th grader had already had Tommy John surgery. So, I learned that as much as we want to do, there's not, if they're going to fall into that culture of the travel ball and things like that, we can do what we can, but you're not going to win every battle. I had a kid, I kid you not, He was our best pitcher. He was our ace. Tore his UCL playing dodgeball during homecoming week.
Wow.
Damn. As a senior, so he was
As a senior,
oh,
senior year during the fall, threw a dodgeball and boop, done.
you know, that's a common, I don't want to say common, but in our town, there's a really good basketball team. And the like best player, he had already committed to a D1 school, but he just tore his ACL in a summer tournament. And I really think your body can't handle the sport at high intensity year round. You need time away from the sport. And, you know, I remember Joe Ken told me long ago, he visited my first underground strength gym in 08 when he was at Louisville. And when we went out to eat after, he said, most of these kids don't like to lift, Zach. He's like, they love football. They love the sport. Lifting is not what they love. And I was like, really? College guys don't love to lift? He said, yeah, really. And the other thing with you guys mentioning kind of this year-round sport is I think as we get smarter, I know at least for me, sometimes I caught myself overthinking things, babying kids. And then I realized, man, I'm not making anybody strong. Nobody has like toughness and grit and this, you know, gritty mindset. And so today I had a kid, freshman. He's like, I pitched all weekend. He's like, my arm is tired. I go, that's exactly why we need to be doing these chest supported rows. You need to build that up. Another freshman at my high school, you know, struggles to do push-ups. And he's like, when I do farmer walks, it's tough. I go, bro, you should be doing 100 push-ups a day, 100 squats, 100 lunges. You got to build your body. You have no muscle. And so you play baseball, it actually hurts your body. You know, once the kids get more advanced, let's say baseball comes in and it says overhead dumbbell press. I'll say, like I explained this during family day, if it says 4 sets of 4 to 8 reps, dumbbell military press, I'll say, if you're a pitcher or a catcher who played this weekend, that's going to become a face pull or some sort of a rowing motion instead of a press. If you did not play, then you guys just do 4 sets of 4 overhead. And then we got a real high level pitcher on our team. He goes, coach, I did 2 sets of 4 overhead. And then the other 2 sets I did face pulls. So he figured it out and did a happy medium. But I find that high school kids are resilient. We got to build them up. But like you said, be intelligent, not, you know, don't go wild on them. But if you could, as a coach, you could easily get swayed by some of the kids and the things that you read of like, oh no, he played, like you'll turn it into you'll become like a rehab person. You know, they won't even lift a weight. And I'll be like,
easily.
Exactly. So it's like, we got to work.
The best pitcher.
Got to work.
We had a pitcher here a couple of years ago. He didn't go on and play college baseball just because he really didn't want to. He was tremendously intelligent, really smart, wanted to start his career and go to college. But I remember a day after he threw 93 pitches in a huge region game for us. The kid was in the weight room the very next day. We had power cleans on the schedule. He was cleaning, you know, he was 170-pound kid. He was doing triples with 185. Great technique, drop, you know, catching it all the way down the bottom, standing up. I mean, just beautiful. And this was one of my first years here. And I remember I posted it on our Facebook page and you know, people loved it. You know, I will say this, I think I want to agree with you, Zach, and one of the things you said in the fact that the high school athlete is a lot more resilient than they recognize, and I think that are given credit for.
Yes.
From a physiological standpoint. You know, the baseball athlete in general is an anomaly to deal with. I remember I was at Charleston Southern as the director of strength and conditioning, and I had a kid come into our program, and he was a two-way player, so you know, played in the field, pitched some, and he came to our program, and we were training, and I think I had those kids doing floor press just to not deal with it and just to kind of keep my sanity. And the kid came up to me, he's like, I've never done a bench press in my life. I was like, what? was like, you're a Division I college baseball player. Never. But I turned that around, and one of my best friends is Blaine Kinsley, the baseball strength coach at the University of Arkansas. He was, I was up there a couple of weeks ago, spending time with him, and I just wanted to see the new $30 million baseball only facility.
Oh, you told us about this.
And it's ridiculous. But he was telling me in their top 6 or 7 pitchers, they're all hitting doubles and triples with 225, 245 in the bench.
Dude,
strong.
Bench.
I gotta say,
That, and you're talking those guys, and I saw it firsthand, throwing 93, 94, 97. You know, they got a couple of kids that throw over 100. It's because they're freaking strong.
Strong.
check this out.
You don't think those ligaments, and tendons are strong and have good tensile strength and everything else? I mean,
doubt.
Yeah, they're not going crazy. They're not bouncing it off. I see how you guys do it. You do it the right way. They do it the right way.
You pause bench, right?
Freaking strong.
Oh, but you're
That's
saying
what
at the college. So,
Well,
Yeah.
he stole that. He told me, he's like, I love that idea. I'm stealing it from you. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
dude,
As long as
pauses
you give me
get you
credit.
pauses get you
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Squat,
But
bench, pause.
I think this in the baseball realm, and I know we've kind of steered
That's
off
all right.
topic,
We're good.
but in the baseball realm, you know, it's just one of those things that you've got to figure out a way to trick them sometimes. You know, it's just like when I was the basketball strength coach at East Carolina University. My kids did not like to lift weights. They loved to play basketball,
Right.
and that was it. Now the coach, he was okay on it. One of the assistant coaches believed in it, and so luckily he pushed it, and we had success. But I had to, you know, those sessions, I'll never forget my boss telling me when he said, when those guys come in the weight room and you coach them, shut my blankety blank door. Because he says, I can't stand hearing you yell that much. Because I was just all around, you know, I wasn't a hype guy, but I was just very loud, very intentional.
You command the room.
Yeah. And I think as strength coaches, unfortunately, a lot of times that's something that you lose. You know, I'll never, I saw a post I think it was on Facebook. A buddy of mine, actually is Eric Cash's assistant at Dorman, Jimmy Anderson. Jimmy is he's a long-time high school strength coach, and he posted a picture, and I have no idea who it was, but it was 2 jacked up monsters. And he said, "You remember the days when strength coaches used to look like this?" And then he said, as opposed to, you know, the guys wearing short shorts and, you know, jumping around, waving towels and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, I do remember those days. But I think as professionals, we have to do a great job of, and this is what I love about the NHSSCA is we have to pay it forward. You know, I had great coaches that impacted my life. I'm sure you did, Zach. I'm sure you did, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
And because 9 times out of 10, actually 99 million times out of 10, you don't get in this profession if you did. And you know, I think as younger coaches come up, it's something that we owe to our profession. That, you know, I always look at things, I want to leave them better than when I started them. And you know, that's a big part of it for me, especially now where I'm looking at in my career. And it's an important piece that we teach young coaches. Here's a great thing: how do young coaches learn how to coach? That to me, you know, how did I even have to look back for me personally? How did I learn how to coach? Who did I model? Right. Who did I observe? And I see certain aspects of different coaches I've had, and it's, you know, I see, okay, there's Coach so-and-so, there's Coach so-and-so, you know, and it's just one of those things that I think as a profession, I think we've got to be better at it, you know, because the reality is,
better at mentoring.
Yes, I really do. I think we've got to help each other, you know, and because I saw a post today on our Facebook page, and it talked about a young coach trying to get buy-in from starting a new program.
Yeah, I made a video for him.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that it was one of those things that we've got to make sure moving forward we do a great job of, because helping those guys and girls to understand truly, the impact that you can have is great, but at the same time, how to do it. You know what I mean? So
Let's
I went
talk.
off on a
No,
tangent.
it's a good
No,
one.
that's great.
But let me say something before I forget. When we mentioned baseball last year, may have even been my first year, because COVID shut down right before baseball started. Guys went through tryouts. When I would program dumbbell benching, not barbell benching. And then a couple of the pitchers said, "Can I barbell bench?" And instead of me being like, "Oh no, we don't bench as baseball players," I did it. I let them bench. And so now we got 2 Swiss bars in the weight room. Some of the guys like to bench, so I let them bench if they want to. Unless, in season, I'm a little bit more careful with it, but it just goes to show you we overthink things. And then when you were talking about your buddy having the guys bench and lift heavy, the thing that I was thinking about was have you heard of Driveline Baseball out in, I think, Seattle?
Yes,
They're
I have.
like the West Side Barbell of baseball. Those guys don't use any Swiss bars or safety squat bars. You see them doing max bench, 1 rep max squat. And their founder is the pitching coach for the Cincinnati Reds. And
Yep.
they were fine with it. So it goes to show you that sometimes we overthink things, but certainly some baseball players will not be best suited for squatting. I trained a pitcher, and when he squatted, he had that whole hip shift. So I said, you know what we're going to do? Unilateral work and offset kettlebell squats instead of loading your spine and getting your hip all kicked out. So, but let's touch on that culture question. I replied in the Facebook group with a video, and I responded with more stuff. And the stuff that I actually forgot to put in the video, I think was more important, which was basically connection with the kids. This year, I've been to most of the football games. Our like cheering squad goes nuts when they see me. The kids are so grateful, and I didn't know. I knew I was missing out. I'd have to leave the high school, run my own gym, leave the high school, pick up my kids. This year, I took myself off my own schedule a bit. I made it on Monday to girls field hockey, which I don't even train, but some of those girls play lacrosse. And I made it to girls soccer. I've made it to a few girls soccer games. And by doing that, it's like they realize how much I care. And I got to tell you, when I watch these kids play, I feel like I'm watching my own children.
Yeah.
It's like you just love to see them succeed. When they don't win, it hurts you, it hurts you also. But that was the one thing I forgot to put in my video answer to that coach. Was I was talking about the wristbands, the t-shirts. I was talking about getting kids to help one another, to coach one another. But then I realized, man, it's the connection I've made with these kids when I talk to them about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with football, soccer, and yeah, that's the special stuff. So if this coach could get to this game, that game, the kids will love it. Or during lunchtime, go walk to the cafeteria, check in on the kids, see what they're eating, laugh a little bit. I don't know why it's so simple, yet it's so powerful. They love it. So Toby, what do you do? Because you're tied up, very busy during the day. Your strength and conditioning is during the day, where Paul and I are after school. So we have kind of little, I guess, flexibility during the day to connect with them outside of the weight room.
The connection piece is a huge part. It's definitely something, as I've gotten older, I realized I probably missed on a large scale. I did it individually. I probably was a lot more strategic, maybe, or just a little bit more selective when I was younger as a coach. And as a wiser coach, I figured out it has to be more global within my teams and my athletes and my kids. The number one thing, I think, that the way you connect with them is to get to know them just on a different level. one thing that I do with our kids is I have them fill out a questionnaire. I stole this, I think, from Garrett Keith. Is I have them fill out a questionnaire at the beginning of the year, and then it's what are your goals? What do you want to bench, squat, clean, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Which yes, it is important, but I put in there, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite sports team? And try and learn, every single day connect with at least one kid about something different than strength and conditioning. I think them seeing you at the games is vitally important. The other thing that I think that has really helped us with a lot of the things that we do is the things that, the social media aspect and the promotion of our kids, doing the lifters of the week. One of the things I did with our parents this year is I called every single one of my parents. Okay. Now in my world, that's only 150 kids through the high school and middle school. But my principal told us, the way I understood his directions at least, and I called every single one of them. And I just said, hey, I'm excited about having so-and-so in the class this year. If you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. It helped me learn about my kids. I had one parent say, thank you for reaching out. I'm sitting here in the hospital with my husband. Oh, crap. And so I just, started talking to her, and I literally prayed with her on the phone. The husband had a heart attack, and nobody at the school knew. And I was literally that first person. So, just doing things like that, just making sure you're checking up on them here and there. When we went through the whole COVID thing, that obviously we developed a very good online presence as far as connections with them. I think big part of it is meeting where they're at.
Is that why you started the Facebook group, Coach, or was that before COVID?
No, that was what, why I started I kid you not, I got some funny stories about Facebook. I started the Facebook group to realistically help with our renovations.
Of the weight room?
Yeah.
Are you in the Facebook group, Paul? Toby's school's strength and conditioning Facebook group?
I don't know, let me check.
He's got
I think I am.
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering why you used Facebook and not Instagram. I guess Facebook is more the adults.
Facebook's their mom and dad. And if I'm going after mom and dad, at that time who was trying to raise money, where am I going to start? But two, one thing I firmly believe in, you can be Tommy Moffitt, Louis Simmons, Alvin Roy. I don't necessarily believe that Boyd Epley started strength conditioning. That's a whole nother conversation. You can be all those guys combined into one and do an unbelievable job training kids during the day, creating culture. But everything that you do as a coach can be torn apart by a 15-minute conversation at home. So if mom and dad don't believe in what you do or not have a little bit of understanding, then as a high school strength coach with culture, you're never going to win. Mm-hmm. So I've really made that point to use Facebook as a weapon for me for the parents. And the funny thing was, after my first year of doing it, I'm sitting there at the end of the year, and my principal brings it up in my year-end review. And she just said, hey, we absolutely love how you're highlighting the kids on social media. Our parents love it. Our administration loves it. I was like, okay, great. And so, I've continued to do that. Now we've added Twitter and Instagram over the course of the years. And you're right, Paul, the kids are on Instagram significantly more, a little bit on Twitter. But it's one of those things that has become a weapon for us and has been a big piece of getting to meet kids where they are. I'll never forget, I had a little golfer come up to me one day and says, Coach, what do I got to do to get on Twitter? Because I had posted some videos of his friends and his buddy. I was like, I don't remember what I told him. I think you had to clean like 185 or something. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to clean 185. Okay, great. Go do that. He never did it, but at least he tried. But, those type of situations have shown me, we're going down the right path. Yeah. I'll tell you this too. one thing that's helped with social media and things like that, that's helped me professionally, is I was sitting in my CEO's office one day, and we typically talk. I go into his office probably 2 to 3 times a week and have conversation just to talk. And we were talking, and I said, "Yeah, so and so's coming to visit today, and the week before, so another people had come to visit." And he looks at me, he's like, "Toby, no disrespect, our athletic teams aren't very good. Why the heck are these people coming here to watch you?" And I said, "Well," I said, "I'll be honest with you a lot." He said, I said, "Why we have an unbelievable math department. We have an unbelievable English department. Nobody's coming to watch them do what they do. But you have all these other schools, significantly bigger schools than what we are, coming to visit." And I said, "Well, honestly, a lot of it is what we do from a social media standpoint, where people really like what we do. And it intrigues them, it interests them, and they want to see how it actually happens and works." And he's like, "We got to get to figure out that, and for me at a private school, that's a great selling point." The last thing I'll say too is, we're going back to that connection piece. Something I started when I was at Western Carolina. I did it at Kent State. No, I didn't do it at Kent State, but I did it at Charleston Southern a ton. I never had a chance to do it at East Carolina, but I've done it here a ton. Is I cook for my kids.
Oh, you said this last time.
Paul's mentioned it, where the barbecue stuff. I mean, those things have become kind of legendary within our teams, and they absolutely positively love it. And it's just one of those things that, I'll spend a couple $100 to make sure my kids really have a great time. We got a pool; they love the pool, and that's kind of taken on a life of its own.
At your house?
Oh yeah, my pool is. You want to talk about water all over the place, and I'm wondering if that thing's going to break because it's an above ground pool. It is what it is. You get a bunch of boys in there playing pool basketball, but it's those kind of things where they can see you outside of the weight room. They see you differently, and you're right. Seeing them at their athletic events goes a long way. But I think being a culture part of the high school realm, the parents play a huge piece in it. They really, really do. And I think if you can get the parents, you'll get the kids. And
right.
that's not a typical answer. But let's be honest, from an early age up until they get out of high school, who's really the one saying, "All right, you got to go to school"?
Parents.
Mom and dad. Who's the one who gets them to the weight room? Mom and dad.
Yeah, they drive them.
I'd lose my mind coaching in college because the kid wasn't on time. I can't do that in high school.
Correct.
Not the kid's fault.
Right.
It's so you have to understand that dynamic and start educating the parents. Attack the parents.
That's huge, Toby, because sometimes kids will be late, and I tell kids, guys, when I'm late taking my son somewhere, it's because he wasn't organized. So I know it ain't mom and dad's fault all the time. You guys maybe, I tell them, don't spring up. You need a ride 2 minutes before, Sunday night or 2 nights before, you let mom and dad know, or whoever you live with, your schedule. Well, Paul, what about you? What do you do? Culture it's a big umbrella term, but man, you got a pumping program, and it's not so easy. I struggled for a while. Now I'm getting like I need to be cloned. I keep saying, what do you feel is your strong suit that builds the culture at your school?
It's got to be community based. Toby said it before. It's got to be the parents. It's got to be the faculty. There are some faculty that don't even know I exist. I mean, we have 350 teachers at Hunter Central. We're large, but get them to understand, of course, the administration, but the parents, absolutely. Listen, when I did Instagram, I never checked that Facebook box until COVID. And I started putting it on there. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal.
You have a Facebook group? What do you have?
So no, I have the Instagram, but when it says share, you can say share it to Facebook as well.
So it goes
I
to
would share it to
personal?
Twitter. So yeah, it would go to the Facebook so the parents could see all the stuff that I was doing on it. So I didn't have to post it in different places.
Right.
Once I did it, I would just check that. And to truthfully, COVID was a big learning growth piece for me. We started school at 9 a.m. once we started going virtual. And I said, you know what? Every morning I'm going to get up at 7:30. I'm going to start a workout. I did a live workout every single day of COVID. Started at 8:15. We went to 8:45. And I told the kids, I said, what better way to get ready for class than to get up, get energized, and get ready to go. And so 8:15 every day from March 16th until we graduated on June 21st. Every Monday through Friday, I did a live Instagram workout, and I posted it on
like body weight dumbbell.
And it was in my living room. Oh, it was body weight. It was towel isometric. It was dowel. It was kettlebell, backpack. I had a backpack filled with soup cans.
I remember you did this.
You know, I showed him how to make a backpack that was heavy. We did. I posted it all on our on Team Builder.
Yeah.
And it started off, you know, I would see, I'd take a peek at the little eyeball, see how many kids were there. And it started off like 4 or 5. And then as we were getting into April and May, you know, I saw 20, 22. And my Poconos were texting me and saying, I got my kids doing it up here. I'm good friends with the Delsey athletic trainer down there. I invited Delsey, the whole school, to join in with us. I gave him my Instagram account, and I got in good shape. It got me up every day, got me motivated.
Yes.
I was smoked after a half an hour. I was doing box jumps over buckets in my living room. O'Neill sent me a text. He's like, you got ups. You know, I was doing stuff. We're just having fun with it.
Toby, when we did family day, Paul did a full like speed block. Once he started once the warm up started going and the nervous system got hyped, he was moving. I'm telling you, man. I was like, oh, and everybody was like, damn, Paul could move. I didn't know. It's like a secret weapon he has in his back pocket that we didn't know about.
You know, just like with today, field hockey, you say, you know, field hockey isn't one of my really big teams. But there are some girls that are consistent, and they come in every Wednesday at 4:30. Coach has them in season every Wednesday. They're on my schedule. And we had a Thursday game coming up, and it was a team we hadn't beaten in a while. I said, you know what? It's time to beat this team. I was just at Wendy's the other day, and they're giving away Frosties for $1. I'm going to buy coupons. You guys beat them. Everybody's getting a Frosty. I gave away 30 Frosty coupons today. They won. And they were posted on Instagram, Frosties. And I gave them out today. And, you know, it was a fun day. You know, I played the Rocky song as I came out of my office with the coupons.
It has to be fun. It's so serious. And look, I was too serious when I got there. I mean, I was crazy serious, but you know what? It did set a tone. It set a standard. But then as they start kind of like, doing the work that's the right stuff, then you show a little bit of your soft side, and then you know you don't let them get too much of the soft side if they need like to get reeled in. You know, today I taught freshmen the first time ever how to bench, how to trap bar deadlift. Everything's going good, don't miss. How if it's easy and you know we're doing 5s, feel like you get 8. How much weight you add? 5. Oh, a couple of kids don't listen. Somebody got pinned under a bar. I blew the whistle. Said you blew it. I saw somebody get pinned by a bar. I saw somebody do half reps. I go, is that what we do? I go, do you get 3 points when you run halfway down the football field? I go, we don't do that. I go, strip it down. You get to finish with farmer walks and curls. I go, you guys got to listen to me. Mm-hmm. You got to, you know, I told you how much weight to add. And so it was fun. Then I kind of pulled the plug a little bit, but they still got to finish with their curls. And then they know, hey man, coach. And then I also had to tell them, don't get emotional when I coach you hard. If I'm telling you to touch the bar to your chest, don't get upset. I said, are we the Housewives of New Jersey? We are not. That's what I told them. They're like, no, coach, we are not. I said, we ain't got no time for drama here. So should we go next time into the career talk, or should we give like a little
Well,
tidbit on it?
Zach, I got a question. So since you said bar to chest, I've been to ask Coach Jacobi this for years.
Sternum.
What made you go to the pause? Because
Pause.
after listening to you, I started that with my freshmen, and I got to tell you, the way we do things on the bench for them is night and day now. They're so much better. And what made you start with that?
A couple of reasons. Coaching in college, you see obscene amounts of shoulder injuries all over the place, and it doesn't matter if it was sport, football, baseball, even some basketballs from time to time. So I had that in the back of my mind, and when I came to Strong Rock, I said, okay, I'm going to evaluate things. When I came to Strong Rock, we had an obscene amount of injuries from top to bottom.
Mhm.
And so one of the big ones was shoulder injuries. And so I said, all right, let's evaluate things. Let's see. And so I watched them how they benched, and it was straight, what most people would think: bring the bar out, bounce it off your chest, catch it. Plus two, honestly, the equipment that we had at the time was somewhat suspect as far as what I felt comfortable with from a lifting standpoint. When I would see, basically a kid would drive his shoulder blade and do a good job of driving the shoulder blades into the bench. Problem is the hips would come up and the bench would come up with them sometimes.
Oh.
So I was like, oh crap. And so I didn't have a bunch of benches to utilize. And again, we were planning to make some renovations. And so I'm thinking of all these things. And so I said, okay, how can we do this safely? And so I started thinking about how is the best way to assess true upper body strength. Well, I'm my powerlifting background was bench, and it's going to be a safer move. It's a safer movement because you're controlling the eccentric. You're getting that eccentric load, which we all forget about in any form method. Some ideals of Chaldeets and triphasic and all that kind of stuff. So I'm loading it eccentrically. I'm controlling it at the chest, and then I am exploding it concentrically, which I believe has a better carryover to sport on top of being safer. And so when I started looking at all those things, I was like, to me, this just makes sense. It really seems like a no-brainer. Are our bench press numbers going to go down as far as what we could bench press? Yeah, because I'm not bouncing it off my chest and hips flying up off the bench, and it's just going to be a safer movement. So really, that was the reasoning behind it, was safety and what is best for our sport. And and it's kind of worked out really, really, really well. So the shoulder injuries have decreased significantly. The ones that we suffer now are not anything other. Basically right now we got labrums, and unless I can stop externally rotating, which we don't do pretty much at all in the weight room, I can't teach a kid to tackle with his arm way behind. Part of it. So we've been able to, a lot of the AC separations that we had, knock on wood, are non-existent. But it's just one of those things that I evaluated our program. I looked at it from the sense of, don't do what I like to do, don't do what I've always done, do what's best for my kids and my situation. It's the same principle.
That's the golden rule.
Yeah, behind why I left. I don't back squat anymore.
Oh yeah, you said you front squat with the kids.
Yeah, we front squat, and I love back squatting. I'm, again, powerlifting background. I love the back squat, but when I looked at all the things that I saw, for me, the front squat just made more sense. So
you could, how you mentioned the pause. I like to have some variety to the lifts. So for our coaches listening, if you feel like you're overdoing, we back squat, we front squat. Well, do a 3-week cycle of a pause back squat. Do a 3-week cycle of a pause front squat. And you could do, hey, we're going to do a 2-count pause in the bottom. Last rep is always a 5-count pause. That could change. You're starting to implement a little bit of variety. I kind of, like Matt Wenning has said, he implements a conjugate approach to exercise selection, but a linear approach to progression. So he changes, the bars and the variation. And then same thing with the floor press. We could still pause on in the floor. So I agree with that. The pause makes you strong. I started implementing pause work like in my mid 30s after hanging out with Travis Mash a lot. He was implementing a lot of that stuff. It's funny how a lot of stuff I learned later, just getting around other coaches. I didn't start doing cleans until I met Travis. He did a seminar at my gym. And that's why I always tell kids, if a guy who's 36, training 23 years, who's very tight, can learn to clean, you can do it as a kid. So Paul, what do you, you're all pause bench now instead of a touch?
Not all. I started with the freshmen. So our freshmen come in and they do like a modified 1x20 where we do a lot of different exercises. They do a lot of reps. They get really good at them. And our kids were doing a good job with the dumbbells and doing things. I said, you know what? I'm going to give the bench a go today. And I took Toby's, idea, and I said, here's what's going to happen. Put the bar down right here where I showed him where the bar's got to hit. I want you to feel that spot. I want you to go down, hit that spot, and keep the bar there for 1 second before you go up. So bar path, it gave them an idea where it had to hit every time. And they weren't bouncing it. They were going down, touching, holding, and going back up again. And wow. I mean, at the end of the day, I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, that was a great day. Freshmen sometimes can get a little giddy and crazy when you start giving them new things. Man, they crushed it. And that's the only way I bench with them right now. Everything's fun.
You brought up a great point. And from a technical standpoint, I think the pause does an unbelievable job of reinforcing bar path.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that I've noticed with our kids that I coach it, and it's a big coaching cue, but honestly, it's just more of a reminder for them. I don't have, for the most part, most of our kids' bar paths usually are straight down, straight up, so I think that's a great benefit of it.
I like it. I was thinking of this. I know we always say we're done, but I had just the freshman football players in, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, but my numbers are so big. This kid still can't lunge. He struggles to do a body weight squat. He can't do one inverted row. He could dumbbell bench. He can overhead press, but he cannot move his body. Is he better than what he was in July? Absolutely. But honestly, a kid like that, I would not be opposed to putting him on a bodybuilding machine training program to build muscle, leg extension, leg curl, even a leg press to get his legs, he just can't in the group setting. If I could train this kid one-on-one, but I can't, I got like 40 something freshmen, I remember Mark Bell telling me years ago, like a guy showed up, his gym is free, and the guy had just zero muscle tone. He's like, dude, you actually just need to go to like a gym, and for the next like 5 months, just do every machine and do 5 sets of 10. Like get on every machine and learn how to like hold your body. Seated cable row, lat pull down, hammer strength chest press. Once in a blue moon, you get kids who need that kind of stuff, who cannot squat.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Zach. I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, perfect.
But
all good.
I think and I've got a movement screen assessment and functional movement screen and PPI and all that great stuff's out there. There are a lot of dysfunctions and issues that can be fixed by strength.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think I don't know why in our industry that we have gotten away from that a little bit.
It's like it offends people to talk about getting strong.
A lot of things that can be, now is it, when we squat, is every kid perfect? No, but I'm sitting here and I can watch a kid. Okay, I see the knee valgus. I see the ankle come up a little bit. Okay, I know they have ankle mobility issues. And, I guess I go against the old, was it Greg Cook, load dysfunction? But I've seen a bunch of kids who've had those issues. Once they got strong, guess what? the foot became stable, the knee
Agreed.
became stable, and they were healthy, strong, and athletic.
Agreed.
And I think sometimes, especially younger coaches, maybe not as wisdom laden, you throw the baby out with the bathwater sometimes because you got
Yep.
to fix this and you got to fix this and you got to fix this. And the reality is, for a lot of kids, like you just said, we got to get strong. If a kid can, bend, and if he can perform I've got it right now. I've got a kid. Uh, he struggles because he's so large.
He's
And
heavy. He's a heavy
yeah,
kid. That's what
significant.
this kid is. He's very heavy. So
And
relative body strength is almost impossible for him. He can't do one inverted row. And now thinking of it, I'm like, man, his squats still look so bad. I might just put him on leg extension, leg curl, farmer walk, military press, dumbbell bench, band pull apart. But we need to be able to squat and lunge because when you're on the field, that's what's happening. But him doing bodyweight squats and lunges, it looks so bad that we're going to need to get these machines going. And ironically, like these experts in like patella tendons and knee ligaments, they highly encourage leg extensions. They actually think or their research shows that it's a great exercise for strengthening patella tendon.
Zach, what I've done is I'll take that kid that you're talking about, and I have some of those kids too. I have TRXs in the middle of all my racks, and they'll do a TRX assisted.
Squat.
So they'll do that lunge, and they'll do it using their arms and their upper body, what strength they have there, but we'll work on the pattern. So it's still not going to be sloppy. They may do a split squat for 2 weeks just to learn how to lower their hips and raise their hips, and they're using their hands. Squat, I'll have them hold a squat in the hole and just feel what it feels like to be down with their heels down on the ground.
Like he could maybe get halfway. He
Yeah.
needs one-on-one time. The group, it's interesting. You got kids that, today we're trap bar deadlifting 115, and I had a group deadlift with perfect technique 305. First time deadlifting. It shows you what worlds apart you have as freshmen. And then it also shows us we need what you're doing, Toby, with Facebook. Like, you're right. We need the parents involved because those kids need to get essentially intercepted early with being active. Because I always say, like, I could look at a physique and I could see SpaghettiOs or steak and potatoes, what the kid is built like. You know what I'm saying? There's genetics, of course, but if this kid grows up in a household of all processed food, his body's going to be weak. And, it's my job to fix that, though. And I'm cool with that. But yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in there. And I'd say you were mentioning like having that wisdom and that experience. In my early days of a strength coach, like, you're the Antichrist if you're touching a machine, God forbid. Or if you weren't on a BOSU ball, you're an idiot. And it's just interesting how things have gone. But the answer of getting strong, and let's close with this, guys. I was speaking with Marty Gallagher today, so I want to recommend his book. It's one of my favorites, The Purposeful Primitive. Have you read that book, Toby?
No.
Oh my dude, I read the book when it first came out and was so blown away and inspired by the different stories and the different training methods of each different powerlifter or bodybuilder. And The Purposeful Primitive is like a book I wish I had when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was reading, Robert Kennedy's Maxi Cut Legs and, all this stuff. But that book, as a strength coach, you should be reading that. I've got a lot of books on my desk. You have to read Purposeful Primitive. Of course, I love that book, Jumping Ability. Louis Simmons always talks about jumping ability for all athletes. I like a lot of Pavel's books. The book he did with Dan John called Easy Strength, tremendous. Encyclopedia of Underground Strength.
Got it.
You got it. Josh Bryant has a lot of awesome books, the Jailhouse Strong stuff. Plus, he has books before that. I've got one there. It's called Built to the Hilt. I love that book. And I have Cal Dietz's stuff bookmarked on my computer. I don't know how many people are going to grasp it right away, so you got to really dig in to his information. He has a gazillion free videos for people. Anything by Charlie Francis, The System with Johnny Parker, Al Miller. I think even Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding is an important.
I've used, if you want to talk about a reference and an idea, book, I have used that a ton of times throughout my career.
Yeah.
Just looking at, okay, I know I want to address this. Give me, just from a idea standpoint, I've used that a ton.
You also, what's interesting is we mentioned getting strong. A lot of the kids of this era, because they're not growing up doing push-ups and all that stuff on their own, you need to implement bodybuilding stuff. I want to I'm giving myself a plug on this, but on my YouTube, I partnered with Play on this. I did a series of, I think we got like 20 something videos called Iron Roots, where I've
watched them.
Cool. I reviewed an old book or an old training method. And then the last 6 or 8 videos, I interviewed Jan Dellinger, who is the last living employee who worked with Bob Hoffman, founder of York Barbell, and John Grimmick. So those older books, ironically, even college strength coaches don't know a lot of this stuff. One guy was at a pretty big Division I school for football, he's like, I never heard of these people that you're talking about. And I think it's important to learn from them, because you learn this. It could be something simple. It could be something kind of eccentric. So it's called Iron Roots. It's a playlist on my YouTube channel. Paul, what do you got for book recommendations? I mean, we're killing it. We're already an hour in. We might as well do the food and movie recommendations after the book. So what do you got on books?
I got one that I just started, dinosaur training.
Oh, yes. I reviewed that on Iron Roots.
Yeah. So I just started that, and it's interesting. I mean, he's not a strength coach. He's not anything. He just was a lifter.
He's an attorney.
Yeah.
By the way, in the early 2000s, 2007, when I opened my first gym, a guy that was like trained under Dr. Ken Leisner, he showed up at my gym, and guy was a football coach, was going to get drafted into the NFL, but instead became a pastor. He came in front of my gym with a shopping bag. He had VHS tapes of dinosaur training, VHS tapes of Dr. Ken Leisner. He gave me the Dino Training Files, which was a monthly newsletter from Brooks Kubik. So I reviewed that stuff. And Brooks Kubik wrote that book in the late 90s. Although I think the strongman stuff was really brought forth with, I think Dr. Ken brought a lot of it forth into athletics, in the 80s. I've got a video of him. I got to share it with you guys. I don't know if you saw it.
Don't give me any more, because I just started reading it. So
okay.
I want to get into it.
No more. So Toby, what about you? What kind of book you feel, or books you really love?
I love speed. I'm reading the Michael Yes's Explosive Running right now. I think I enjoyed that. Again, I'm with you on anything by Charlie Francis. Definitely love Speed Trap.
Yes, I have it.
Great go-to. Again, powerlifting background. Love Louis Simmons. Anything I can get. Westside Book of Methods.
It's right under the computer. I love that book.
Yeah, I've got. Here you go. There's a shameless plug.
I love that. I love that.
I got. From a career standpoint, I had a chance to hang out with him in Colorado, speaking at a clinic, and Kurt Hester, Rants of a Madman Strength Conditioning Coach.
That book, I want to read that one.
That's something that is entertaining.
It's a must-read book. I did not think he was going to get so much into the career side of things. That if you're a strength coach, you must read it. I just texted with Kurt yesterday, doing some research. Paul and I are going to speak at the New Jersey Athletic Directors Conference. he, is super smart, but he also stands his ground. He understands how to navigate communication with athlete, sport coach, administration, and not get swayed to, he's really, and he's so busy coaching, he doesn't do this kind of stuff, but that is a man to learn from.
I definitely would say Weight Room Wisdom. I think that's the name of it.
By Ronnie
McKeefrey. I really enjoyed that, again, from another career aspect. I thought that was pretty cool, seeing the people who have been through it. Obviously, CEO, strength coach. I wish I'd have had that as a younger coach, for sure. And then I try and get as much stuff. Again, I allude to a comment I made earlier, as much stuff as I can from Alvin Roy.
What did he write? I mean, you're right, the first, he was early late 60s.
Yeah, maybe 50s.
From Alabama.
He was at Alabama. His fame is LSU, Alabama, I think. But his fame came with San Diego Chargers.
There's some old photos of him. If you guys follow on Instagram, Institute of Iron, that's Kenny Toth, powerlifter. He posts some awesome history. So he did an Alvin Roy. I reposted it like a year ago, and you see Alvin Roy coaching some of the San Diego Chargers. They're like deadlifting and power cleaning outside. You see the thick, the deep dish plates.
But too, books are all great, and I enjoy reading. But it's just really opportunities like this, just getting to talk to different coaches, and during COVID, I did an interview series that's on the NHSSCA website with a bunch of different coaches, and a lot of them were my friends. But it just worked out where I was able to sit there and talk for an hour, hour and a half, and dive into different things, and really just seeing, hanging out with like-minded people, I think is really what I truly, truly enjoy from a learning standpoint. Obviously, with the internet now, there's so much that you can do. Oh, I do like Mike Boyle's book.
Mike Boyle's great, man.
The Functional Strength Coach. I think that there's a lot of things I've taken from that. It's made me evaluate what we do. And so I think just, being able to talk and develop as a coach and as a profession is just one of the things I truly, truly enjoy. That's for sure.
You know what else needs to get done? Because you're mentioning the talking and stuff. Here's what really has to get done. You got to train, and you need to, especially in your younger years, experiment on yourself. Hey, what's it feel like to go through a cycle of 20 rep squats? Can I incorporate high intensity training in any aspect? Let me go through, 3 months of triphasic. Yeah, you're 20 years old. You're 25 years old. You should be experimenting on yourself. Let me go and spend 4 days at Westside Barbell. Let me go and attend a, purposeful primitive seminar with Marty Gallagher and Jim Steele. You go and train and get under the bar. You have to get your hands dirty, so to speak, or you'll never, if you're programming something that you never did and really went through, it's, it's going to go over your head. So what were you going to say, Paul? You got a book, a movie?
Yeah, I was going to give, and this is, I've read this twice, and you guys, everybody knows John Gordon, author. This is his brother, Dave. It's a book called Take It Personally. I just read it for the second time. It's a storybook. It's kind of like Martin Rooney's book. It tells a story. And Toby, you were talking about how some of these young coaches can learn how to coach and brand themselves. This book is unbelievable.
I'm ordering it now. That's it. You mentioned it. I'm going on Amazon.
It's he's actually, I read it the first time and I enjoyed it so much. I sent him an Instagram message. I said, I'm going to buy your book. I'm going to give it to my Iron Red Devils at the end of the year. He goes,
what's it called? TIP,
TIP, just TIP. Yep. Dave Gordon. He's on the 25th. He's meeting with my Iron Red Devils. They're all at college now, but we're going to do a Zoom meeting and he's going to talk to them about the book and what it means to him. And it's take it personally. It's not about getting, it's about giving. And take personally what you do every day. So give more than you get. And if your tip jar is full at the end of the day, that means you did a pretty good job of that. So
I like that idea.
It's not. Oh, here we go. It's a audio. You got it as a physical book?
yeah, it's $19. It was but it's a story. I mean, I read it in 3 days. I mean, and I'm not the best reader. I boom, sucked that one up. It's yeah. COVID's done a lot for me personally. It really has. Being locked in this office for a week and a half.
Oh yeah, you were. I'm trying to get. All right, I see it. But
Yeah, it's a tip jar. It says just TIP.
Kindle. It's only hardcover, no soft cover.
Yeah.
Here we go. Look, I love this, guys. I'm buying it used for $8.
There you go.
I love that you could do that.
That may have been the one I lost because I lost my first one.
Yeah, it says somewhere in Hunterdon County. All right, there we go. $8.29. So I'm really, here I am reading, but I'm training 5 days a week. I'm figuring things out with training, and there's a lot of stuff that I think the internet, because information is so easy, stuff like this in my early 2000s, I had to pay to get an audio CD of somebody interviewing Mike Boyle.
Mhm.
I had to pay. Ryan Lee had a monthly CD that would get mailed, and I would burn through those CDs. I mean, I'd play them a gazillion times, and I purchased everything Ryan Lee put out, every business, every training, every membership site. And that kind of, I don't want to say I was addicted. I was just so committed to the craft and so hungry. And you got to be hungry if you're a coach, or you will never be great. And let me tell you something. I've been doing this for a while. Every day I'm like, damn, I could have got this better, done that better. Or just like I'm talking about that one kid, I'm like, man, I got to get better at working with that one kid. And just here we go. It's a takeaway. So anyway, guys, 9:30, let's shut it down. I'm going to chill out a little bit. I love talking with you guys. Toby, I can't wait to see you in person. Before we shut it down, we're all, Toby, are you the regional state? I forget what you have going on now.
I am the Southeast Regional Director.
Southeast Regional Director. So I was speaking with Kevin O'Neill, and we're not sure what's going on with state and regional events, maybe because we're afraid that those events might slow down attendance to NatCon. So do you have anything coming up? Did you do Family Day already?
Yeah, we had a Family Day in Alabama. We've had a Family Day in Tennessee, and in South Carolina last weekend.
Oh, we did too. We just did it Sunday.
Yeah, we've got probably the only state we won't have a Family Day in is North Carolina, just because of the Southeast. They're probably the most restrictive as far as things goes, especially with the schools. And so, but we'll have one in Georgia. That'll be on the 30th. We're having one this Saturday we'll have another one on the 30th down in Florida. Mississippi, we're
in Florida. Florida's huge.
They're going to do it at King's Academy, which is South Florida.
What area is that? Do you know?
It's around FAU. That's all I know.
Oh, Florida Atlantic is Boca.
Yeah, so it's around Boca.
Cool.
The only reason I know that's because my buddy's a strength coach at FAU. But we're going to have it down there. And then Mississippi, we're working on getting some things finalized. We'll probably have a Family Day there in December. We just had a transition with our state director, and so he's getting, he's kind of getting his feet wet, and
cool.
We'll just do it a little bit later. We've got NatCon obviously in our region, so we will not have a regional this year.
NatCon is in, where's NatCon going to be?
In Tennessee. Ensworth. So
at our buddy's place, Zach.
Brian Van Vliet.
Who's there?
Brian Van Vliet.
I never met Brian.
He's the head coach at Ensworth. I thought it was who do we have on? Who's one of our first guys on our podcast?
Oh, Jason Spray.
Jason
He
Spray.
is in
he's no longer
Tennessee.
there.
No.
Yeah, he's no longer there.
Jason was
Spray.
at a different private school. It's not that
Yeah.
one.
He was at Ensworth, but he's no longer there.
Oh, he was. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's at
He's
maybe it's
in
Middle Tennessee.
Murfreesboro.
Yes,
He's
yes.
somewhere in Murfreesboro.
Cool. Awesome. So a lot of stuff going on for everybody who's watching or listening. Go to nhssca.us. Become a member. If you get to a family day, I believe they had a discount going, which makes it even cheaper. And if you are in a school, it is very likely that your membership could be handled as part of like your educational funding. And even if it's not, it's tremendous. There's so much resources in the website, and being part of the family is just awesome. We had an awesome family day. We're like still buzzing from it.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great, dude. Yeah, it was awesome. So,
Awesome.
all right, we're going to shut it down. Paul, thank you so much. Toby, you are the man. And we will get this out anywhere that you could listen to podcasts. It'll also be up on YouTube. We mentioned a lot of resources. So share it with a colleague, share it with an administrator, share it with anybody who's involved with working with athletes, so we could help spread the good word about, educating and empowering and giving anybody who's working with high school athletes the right resources to give them the best opportunity to be healthy and to succeed in athletics and in life. So guys, hang on while I shut it down here.